Hello, I'm Dale Matthews, and I'm joined by Mike Jones. Hello, Mike.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, and this is Wednesday, and so welcome to our show.
As
You know,
evidenced by this right here,
well, also
Wednesday.
by this.
Yeah, by
This is
by
Wednesday.
I can't really see that, but I'm assuming that's from the yeah. Okay, whatever.
Wednesday Adams.
Yes.
He always says, "Stop explaining the jokes."
Well,
Okay.
no, I mean, boy, I was thinking, oh, okay, is that for Earth Day? Maybe that's
Oh,
Pocahontas or something.
yes, right. That's what it
Yeah.
is. That's for Earth Day.
Well, it
And
could
and
be.
and here over my other shoulder is a snickering uh,
Wow, that was close.
Cheryl Walker, and also here is Larry Graves. I'm at the airport meeting, and everybody is, you can see all these people are packed in there, and they're all trying to get answers about what's going to happen with Manor Development. They're
Mm.
still behind on their rent. They had an executive session meeting today with
Hmm.
legal counsel. I talked to him briefly before the executive session, and I said to him, as we always try to do, we try to understand what people's rules are and tell them so that they know that we do, and they usually appreciate that. I say, I understand that you cannot relay to us, even though you've been elected by us, confidential talks that you've had with the commissioners. I'm not really in favor of that in general, but if you have to have them, okay, keep them confidential. But since you're doing some research about Manor Development, those people that supposedly are going to build drones at the Ivy Airport, can you share some of the research that you've done? If not, what you're going to be saying to the commissioners? Well, we talked about it a little bit, and I believe in this community of ours that there's general consensus that if you don't pay your rent for months and months and months and months, that
And
perhaps somebody should pull the plug. Now, I'm asking a question here of Larry Graves about the fact that he came in, it was the next day or the day after that, right after the commissioners had taken their vote, and I'd said that you had negotiated more money for your people in the airport because they were going to be so busy with Manor Development, negotiated that
yes.
before anything was happening. Right? And so I said, being
Mm.
a fiscal conservative, as he purports to be, I said, will you soon be reversing that? And Cheryl Walker is sniggering at the members of the airport board and saying, next question.
Yes. Well. Okay. So I'm still waiting for the shocking part of this
Yeah, well, the
this
thing
story.
is that obviously the idea, okay, call me stupid. That's okay with me. And go ahead, Mike, call me stupid. Ready? Okay.
I would never do that.
Not to my face, I know. Yeah, okay. So the thing is, does government ever reverse anything, any mistake it's ever done? And here's this crowd full of people, and I'm trying to ask him a question, and she keeps saying, well, let's get on with the next person. Hey, wait a minute. Can I ask a question? Well, you can go see this video for yourself if you wish to. We also posted his entire segment, not just the part where I got a chance to ask him two questions. And we got an awful lot of views. People appreciate the fact, just like the miners did in Galice, that they're not going to get 20 seconds and then someone's going to talk over it, and that's the end of the story. Okay, so we gave it all of the attention that it needs. We played the entire segment. Larry must have talked for, I think it was 22, 25 minutes, something like that. You can see all of those things if it's important, and if the context might make any difference to you, we'll post them both, and then you get a chance to see for yourself. That's what we
Right.
do. That's what we do. Okay, so speaking of that's what we do, today is Wednesday. Thank you, Wednesday Adams. And we went to the Wednesday weekly business session with the commissioners. We're going to roll back the clock just a little bit and tell you something that's been happening for successive Wednesdays, and it started off with with Cheryl Walker coming in. We're not going to show you that because you'll hear all of the summary of it. Cheryl Walker coming in, and she's doing this wonderful presentation. She asked these people to come in from So Ready, Southern Oregon Regional Economic Development, Inc., and just like the song, and they come in to do this wonderful story about how much they've done for our county, where you even got county commissioners saying, well, I don't know really if it's worth it. Have they done that much for us? Cheryl Walker's, yes, we've got to do this. She gets a chance to vote, and she's on the board of So Ready. Seem like a conflict of interest to you? Well, she doesn't see it that way, everybody. She is one of the people that's pushing for them. She's one of the people that votes for them for more money, and she's on the So Ready board. What a wonderful coincidence, right? And so she has him come in and do this presentation. Well, Sandy Casanelli got up at that meeting and said, I got a lot of questions about So Ready, and here's a long list of reasons why. Say anything you want about Sandy Casanelli, just not in front of me. And but she does do her homework. Long list of things. So Cheryl Walker had an interesting response about Sandy Casanelli during Cheryl Walker's protected time, where commissioners can say anything they want to about anybody, and you just got to sit there and take it. So here's Sandy Casanelli's response the next week.
Sandy Casanelli, Merlin, Oregon. Last week we had a presentation by Ron Fox about all the wonderful things So Ready is doing for the county. During my 3 minutes of public comment, I filled out that presentation by reviewing some of the more abysmal projects in which So Ready was involved. Examples included the Paradise Ranch boondoggle, which cost the county hundreds of thousands of dollars. The exact same rhetoric is now being spewed for the development of the industrial park in the same manner. I brought up So Ready's submittal of a mismatched Connect Oregon grant for padding invoices to the county and for its insistence that we go to administrative form of governance, even after the electorate had already rejected that concept. I ended up, as usual, with an invitation for comments or questions to me from the commissioners. None had any. But during Commissioner Walker's protected time at the end of the meeting, when no citizen rebuttal was possible, she stated, quote,
as far as Ms. Casanelli pointing fingers about what are we doing and wasting economic development money, that is not the case. And in case she has forgotten, she managed to get one of her friends $25,000 grant to build a mineral lab, and there's never been a mineral lab built. So what happened to the $25,000? I think that that's something that people need to understand, that the accusations that she's making are purely for grandstanding.
It was, in fact, Michael Smith from So Ready who made the $25,000 request of the board with the man in question. He was supposedly vetted by So Ready and was not a friend of mine, as she stated.
Cheryl Walker decided that she was going to try to chastise Sandy Casanelli by making something up. She said that Sandy Casanelli, as a commissioner, was involved in handing out money to some friends. As a matter of fact, Sandy Casanelli was the only commissioner that opposed handing out money to those people. It was So Ready, who Cheryl Walker was trying to defend, who brought those people to the commissioners. And they had in mind some kind of scheme where they were going to do some assays and et cetera. And Sandy Casanelli said, I have an engineering background. This doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think we should give this money to the people, to these people. And the other two commissioners outvoted her. So then for Cheryl Walker to say at this meeting, behind that microphone, after 62 votes of winning, that, oh, by the way, I'm going to say something negative about a citizen. That's despicable.
If no mineral lab was subsequently built, Commissioner Walker might well ask why not at her next So Ready board meeting. In an effort to defame my character, Commissioner Walker actually provided one more excellent example of a So Ready failure. She helped make my point.
That's misuse of power. That's using a microphone to say a lie about somebody. It's bad enough that we get rephrased into things that are not true. It's really bad. It's comical that she picked this example because it's so exactly the opposite. that it's fairly ludicrous. So, just to set the record straight, Sandy Casanelli did not hand out money to her friends. Some of you may be doing that now, but that's not what she did. Simon Hare said he didn't matter whether Manor Development out at the airport, what their background was. Manor Development, Larry Osborne was one of the prime contributors, the top contributor to Simon Hare's campaign. But he never announced that. He didn't say, I have a potential conflict of interest. So it's not Sandy Casanelli that did it. She was doing the opposite. I don't know what we're going to do about this. Because when we have a commissioner that sits up there using that microphone and tells people on live television and in the audience a complete, absolute, utter lie.
Well, Mike, what can we do? Let's suppose that I'm just completely full of beans, as is Sandy, but not Mike, of course. And we've got a commissioner that's just telling stories. Any commissioner. What can anybody do about that?
Well, apparently not a whole heck of a lot besides, make a record of it, which of course badcounty.com has been doing for the past few years. And the other thing is hold them accountable when it comes time for them to be reelected. And that's basically our option. Although, holding their feet to the fire to try and get some sort of answer or vindication, you might get that. Although I haven't seen one of these people admit to lying or doing something wrong yet. So that you might get old waiting for that one.
Yeah. Well, we should point it out, in my opinion. And this isn't something about Sandy Casanelli and Dale Matthews. This is about everybody, because we've seen it happen with others also. And we've seen the kind of attitude that the commissioners have about citizens. Their popularity is dropping. Ours is actually, at badcounty.com, ours is actually going up. We have more subscribers than ever before. We've got thousands of views for some of our latest videos. And so we're doing very well, partly because we hold their feet to the fire. This is what Wednesday is doing here. She's got a little match in her hand. We hold their feet to the. She ought to be our mascot. So
I didn't see that movie. I don't remember the feet burning incident.
Oh, in this case, there's some the counselors and some of the kids there are just so full of themselves that they take the kind of misfits. Hello, I resemble that remark. And they decide, well, you're going to be the Native Americans, and we'll be the wonderful pilgrims that treated all Native Americans so well.
Yes.
And so Wednesday and the others decide to put ropes around the pilgrims and burn them at the stake.
Oh, nice. Okay, so they fit a little bit of revisionist history into that movie, apparently.
Just a little bit. Well, hey, that's okay with me. The commissioners are revising history all the time, too. By the way, we don't know what the result will be from this meeting, and the revised history now is all kinds of, oh, well, we never knew. Yes, you did. Oh, well, we didn't do that. Yes, you did. And the saving grace of all this, is that we have it on tape. And you've seen what happens even when you have it on tape, you still have a commissioner that insists that videotape can't record him correctly. That was
we even have some of this stuff digitized. That's how forward thinking we are.
That's right. And you saw that kind of T-shirt thing that I was
in
wearing?
addition to being on tape. Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. Ow, I get the joke. See, we don't tape things anymore. And people say, can you come and film this? And I say, no, I'm really sorry, we can't. You can't? No, we don't use film. Oh, okay, yes. I get you. Can you come and tape it? Well,
yes.
Actually, no. But stop goofing around with me, Dale. Can you do it? Yes. Okay, but you may have noticed I was wearing a T-shirt. The T-shirt says no sound and with a telephone number. Remember what happened with Judy Aarons when she trust? The only reason she's doing this is she brings up a whiteboard and it's got a message on there saying no sound with the telephone number to call. And Keith
Right.
Heck is like getting all over her case. Well, you cannot speak, and it's not appropriate according to the Constitution or some other BS about why she can't do it. And, it was suggested to her later, well, you could just say the phone number, Keith.
Right. Yes. And people could read your lips
What?
if there's no sound. That's perfectly logical.
Well, he's shown that he doesn't understand recordings. We recorded him, and the county recorded it. All we need to do is put them up side by side. This is putting them up side by side. This is typing a message. This is playing the piano. Okay, you got that straight. Good. Okay, let's play the next clip. This is what happened the next time.
Matthews grants pass. Lately, the commissioners have taken to referring to citizens as saying things that were not honest. It's a new tactic. Not working out very well, partly because the commissioners don't want to be recognized by SOS and Cuffs as supporting the levy. They don't want your endorsement. They don't want you talking about it because you have a reputation for not being very honest, and your reputation in the county is really low. They don't want you involved. So here's 3 examples. A couple of weeks ago, Cheryl Walker somehow came up with the idea that Sandy Casanelli, when she was a commissioner, was involved in handing out economic development money to a friend. She made it up. It's not true. It's a lie. But when pressed for any answers to where did that number come from, why did you say that, she's not saying anything now. She won't say anything after I'm done. My question to Commissioner Walker, if she can finish writing, is that after I'm done, why don't you spend some time explaining to us where you pulled that number out of? How you came up with that information? It's false. Commissioner Heck tried to dispute the fact that videotape can record him correctly. He told everybody, including department heads, that he never said something. What he said was really smart, but it really wasn't that awful. It was the denial that created the big problem. He was caught. And there's no getting out of that, not ever. It will follow you forever as long as you're in office. I don't know how you can hold your head up because you said that we had distorted what you had said and we'd inserted words into your mouth. Absolutely not true. So as far as lying, as Cheryl Walker said last time, you probably spend all week coming up with new lies. No, you guys can't say that. And then Commissioner Hare. Commissioner Hare at the last budget meeting I had gotten up and said, you're just about to finish this budget meeting. Commissioner Harris said that the sheriff had been padding his budget. You're the budget committee. Aren't you even going to look at that? And Commissioner Hare decided to say during that meeting, I never said that. Well, this is a really simple job for me. I had the tape. So I came to the next weekly business session to share the information with people. And what did Commissioner Hare do? He cut the power rather than having people hear that he had lied. So for the 3 of you to suggest that we're the liars, it's not going to get you anywhere.
Thank you. And bringing it back to the board.
I have several things I'd like to say, but I think I'm just going to summarize them in this manner, in that anyone can come here to our weekly business session and during the public comment period, address the board. This is a board meeting, and we have provided in our county that each citizen has 3 minutes to address the board. Some people take advantage of that, thinking it's time to verbally assault citizens in the community or organizations or members of this board. And I think it is inappropriate and a waste of time. I think that, calling people names, calling people things that are not true, taking information and twisting it is a huge disservice to our county.
So that's really a silly point that makes no sense fiscally, and is completely false and probably known to be before the statement is made. And that's malicious in my mind, to take a statement that isn't true and just do it to use it for whatever kind of gain they have. I don't get it. There's plenty of things in the county to be critical of. You don't have to make it up. You have to do a little bit of research to find our shortcomings, because we're going to have them. That's if you have them, we're going to have them, because we're just people. Things are not going to go perfect. Just dig a little. You don't have to make stuff up. It's almost kind of encouraging if people have to make things up for us to be, seen in a bad light.
Well, they have a whole week to do that, so I'm sure that's what they do.
Well, Mike, it's almost
You're making it up. You're making it up.
Encouraging that citizens have to make things up to make these wonderful commissioners look bad.
Dale, listen, if you would just stop making stuff up and dig a little bit, you might find some character flaws in these people.
I will try even harder from now on.
Okay.
I intend to hold their feet to the fire. I like her more and more over my shoulder. And here's Sarah Walker. Next. We don't need to hear from this guy anymore. And this guy can just snigger right along with her. Oh, Dale Matthews, he's asking what we're going to do about these people who aren't even paying their rent. Why, we're required by federal law to treat everybody equally. You think we're going to do that? I mean, don't you realize, says this guy, I fully vetted this. I put my reputation on the line. That's not a quote. I put my reputation on the line, and I went out and I fully vetted them. Why? I looked at the fact that these guys were the largest contributor to Simon Hare re-election campaign. What other vetting do you guys need? That's more than enough, isn't it? Really? Let's put drones in at the airport. What a wonderful plan. Oh, but
yes, or not.
Dig a little bit more.
This is going to be interesting to see how this whole thing pans out. Apparently, they talked about this in this executive session today, and I guess one of the topics was whether or not to pull the flush chain on these people.
Now, how are they going to announce this? On Monday, there's a meeting in Cave Junction. They meet with Cave Junction people once every 3 months. Okay. And do you think that there might be, I don't know, a couple people at this meeting that might have a question or two about Larry Osborne, about manor development? These are the people that had it in their secret business plan that we released. It was on their website. How hard was that? But nobody else did it. I mean, the Courier, research? What's that? 2 sources? Why would you do that? We released that, and part of their development plan was that they were going to build condominiums on the airport. This is against federal law. So Cheryl and this guy fly up to Washington, fly there to lobby the federal government after they've signed the contract to change federal law. Well, why don't you just dig a little bit more, Mr. Matthews? Okay.
Well, one would wonder if it would be an appropriate thing to do, that if after this whole thing ends up being the snafu that we believe it to be, that Larry and Cheryl pay the county back for all of the expenses of making that trip on the behalf of Manor Development. That had to cost a lot of money, and I know the county paid for it.
Now, here's another thing I think interesting. They have sworn up and down, both of them, as has Simon Hare and Keith Heck, that this manor development project at the airport has cost the county $0. Zero, nothing, absolutely nothing. That's the best part about it, says Simon Hare.
Well, you know what? I missed out on those fares. Maybe that was a one-day only sale or something. I would have booked a trip to Hawaii to see my son if that were the case.
And what about the, as Larry pointed out, I didn't give raises to my people. I'm thinking, that's really weird. I'm pretty sure I heard him say that.
That's right. The county did.
No, well, that's one way of interpreting.
Yes.
No, what he says,
him.
and everybody's waiting in the room because he's caught Dale Matthews. I'm sorry, but this people told me. I was waiting to see what he was going to say. He caught you. You were completely wrong. And he says, I didn't give him raises. I'm like, okay. Well, I think I was there. He says, I did not give them raises. You just got it factually wrong. All right. What I did is I kept their salary at the same level, but they got more time, which meant that they got more money. Oh, well, I stand completely corrected. How completely different that is. And the whole place bursts into laughter.
Well, if you're a full-time employee and somebody gives you more hours, doesn't that imply overtime?
They weren't full-time employees,
Ah,
but it does seem a little bit like it might be part of the plan that whatever comes out of this, manor development goes belly up. Why does this guy care? Okay, if their belly is sticking up, or Keith Heck for that instance, um, why would they care as long as his employees get more hours? Net positive for him, right?
perhaps.
Does it matter that manor development is doing nothing and probably will do nothing? No, he got more money for his people.
Well,
Hooray! And it
you know
didn't
what?
cost us a dime. It doesn't cost us anything. I don't know where that money's coming from, but it's in the magical budget.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, somebody there does need to be some feet held to fire here, because you can't do that. I mean, if you are saying that the justification for giving your people raises is, this manor development project getting off the ground, then you're going to have to. You need to rescind that. If the whole thing is not going anywhere, then you need to rescind that, and you need it, and then there needs to be some formal recognition of the fact that Larry Graves is a good part of the reason why we're in this mess, because of the great job he did vetting this whole project.
And don't leave out Simon Hare, big contribution, biggest contributor to his re-election campaign.
Right. Well, this will be interesting to see what happens.
Not that I wanted Mark Gatlin. Okay, so what I tried to do was to get Cheryl Walker to answer this question. Where did you get that information about Sandy Casanelli? Stop sniggering and tell us where you got the information. Who told you? Where did you get never ask them a question like, why did you do this? Because they said, well, I thought it was right. That's the end of it. Where did you get the information that these were friends of Sandy Casanelli? Because that makes it sound pretty bad. Sandy's not in office anymore. So why did Cheryl Walker? We know why she did it, because Sandy was criticizing So Ready, and she's on the board of So Ready, and she votes for So Ready. It's conflict of interest, in my personal opinion. But she didn't like the fact that along with the other two commissioners, that Sandy Casanelli is questioning the value of So Ready. Okay, so she has to come back with something, and she comes, well, you may not remember the fact. You may not remember, really. Oh yes, and you gave money to friends. That sounds bad, except that it's absolutely completely not true, because I was there. And what happened was Sandy Casanelli was the only one that was initially opposing this. She did it for reasons that she knew what she was talking about, as it turned out, and the other commissioners were pushing real hard for it. She finally went along with them, okay, and they voted to pass this thing. She was the only one that had initially opposed it. And so what I wanted to do at a following meeting, and this you get a chance to see Keith Heck and the way he jumps into all this, I wanted to ask her a question, but she never looks up. We know now you must play poker with Cheryl Walker, because whenever she gets upset, she puts her head down, starts scribbling real fast. You all know that. So she doesn't look at you. There's a rule. You must look at them. You can't look to the right or left. You can't even look up. You have to look them in the eye, except they don't look me in the eye. And they're sure not going to talk to me, not to me, when I'm at the podium. Because our beachhead is expanded out from just the Normandy beaches. We own that Ann Basker Auditorium. It's the only place where anybody can ask them questions and where they're supposed to pay attention to you. Well, here's what happened when I
you just confirmed, Dale, that all the rumors of you taking over the meeting are true.
In 3 minutes, I can take over a 2-hour meeting. Woohoo!
Well, you just said it. You own it.
They're afraid of us.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. I'm so happy that they're afraid of us. Let's hold their feet to the fire. Here's what happened when I tried to ask the question that I asked today. And that's the whole reason behind this, because of what happened today. Here I am trying to ask the question. Let's go with that one.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. I'll keep this simple. Cheryl Walker. A couple of weeks ago, you decided to make the comment that Sandy Casanelli, as a commissioner, I'm over here, Cheryl Walker.
Mr. Matthews, if you want to say something, that's fine. If you want to try to be real clever and try to,
There's no danger of that.
then fine. Your time is up. You have expired. You are not recognized anymore.
danger.
Please have a seat.
What?
Next,
What's the reasoning, sir?
please have a seat.
You have some reasoning, right?
Yes, please have a seat.
What is the reasoning
Number-
behind that, sir?
Would you please sit down?
I'm asking you a question.
You
as
are
an
out of
elected
order.
official.
You are not recognized by the
Why am I
chair.
not recognized?
Because
Why?
the chair,
Why?
I'm not going to get a dialogue with you on this.
Oh, you should tell me though.
Fine.
You have the right to ask. You have the right to try to answer.
Would you like
if you
to
think
sit
that you're
down, please?
capable. That's it. I think that says more about you than it does about me.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. in the back.
You could stop it there. You could stop it there. Yeah, what happens is Ron Smith comes up and then he just goes straight into his dialogue that he has. No recognition that there's anything else that happened in the room. And then a little later on, little Pauline Dean, little grandma Pauline Dean, she gets up and she says, why are you doing this? And I asked him why. What gives him the authority? Because I said so. It seems to me, I remember something about you have the right to redress grievances.
Mhm.
People bring up all the time, isn't there a First Amendment right? And they've said, not in this room. They have.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of how they run this thing here, where they say you have the right, you have a First Amendment right, but not in this room. The chair decides whether you speak or not. And that's essentially what went on there.
Now, what I did was I was making fun of myself. He said, well, if you're going to try to be clever, I said, there's no danger of that. I'm joking about myself. And that's what he said. Oh, well, that's it for you. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe he misunderstood me, but I was making fun of myself.
Well, no.
They have no sense of irony either. They just don't have any sense of irony, Mike. They just have none.
Right. Well,
okay, that was last week. You'll notice a theme. I'm trying to get Cheryl Walker to answer. So I make it as simple as any human being could ever do. Just count along with me the number of times I ask her this one simple question. Do not ask, why did you do it? I don't care why she did it. I just want to know one thing, and you will know the name of this video from the question I ask. It's got exactly the same name as the video you're now going to see. Here we go.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. Last month, Commissioner Walker, you accused a citizen of wrongdoing. You said that Sandy Casanelli had been involved in handing out a grant to some of her friends. In fact, you said, in case she has forgotten, she managed to get one of her friends a $25,000 grant. In case she has forgotten one of her friends. This was not one of her friends. So my question to you is, where did you get the information that this was one of her friends?
If you have something to say to us, go ahead and say that.
Oh, I'm talking. So it's a simple question, deserves a simple answer. Not why did you do it? I don't care why you did it. Where did you get the information that this is one of her friends? Now, already you've answered something having to do with the patriotism of your family, which has nothing to do with this question. Where did you get the information that it was one of her friends? You've talked about the value of children to our society in trying to answer this question. That's got nothing to do with the question. Where did you get the information that this is one of her friends? So it doesn't matter about kittens and sunshine. It doesn't matter about the price of timber in Japan. It's a very, very simple question. Where did you get the information that this was one of her friends? I have some time left if you wish to take it up by looking at me while I talk to you or answering the question. You will be judged here and in the court of public opinion by how long it takes you to answer this simple question. Where did you get the information that this was one of her friends? That's all.
Bringing it back up here. Anybody else add to anything that was said? Wanted to clarify?
I would just like to say that I find it remarkable how Dale Matthews can weave together statements from 3 or 4 different meetings to make his stories sound more dramatic than they are. And as to grants that were made, you can go back through the minutes, and when former Commissioner Casanelli was in the office, she made the motions to approve a specific grant that I was referring to, and then she signed them. So if that's not promoting or supporting, I don't know what is. So.
Well, there's your answer.
Yes. Let me see here. I can't remember the name of this video. Where did I get that information?
I'm your friend, and I have no idea. She still didn't answer the question. I said it 6 times.
Yeah, well, listen, she's not going to answer this question, and this is just, we know that by now. This is not the, if you catch them with their hand in the cookie jar, or any other sort of analogy you want to make, you're not going to get an admission out of them. The closest thing that you're going to get to an admission out of them is when Simon Hare got busted red-handed, with the text gate thing.
Doug Deacons.
Yes, right, exactly. And he had to come out, and he was forced to come out and say something about that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said anything about it.
And he said a lie. He said that the Deacons family had completely forgiven him. Simon, that's a lie. And he says, well, I have a text mail that says so. And so Mark Seligman,
and I'll show it to you right after here.
And that's what he said. He did say that. So Mark Seligman goes up to him and says, well, I'd like to see it. Oh, I have nothing to say. Really?
Yes.
Now, you notice when I gave the 3 examples, the other 2 didn't even try to answer, because, they see, why did I do that? Because they've started recently to refer to, you heard them, to refer to us as liars. Why? They probably work all week to come up with lies. Listen, you can disagree with this if you want, but don't say that. And they said that for 2 weeks in a row. So I said, okay, that's enough of that. And so that's why I said, here's why you guys can't. Here's one for Cheryl. Here's one for Keith. Here's one for Simon. Stop saying you absolutely cannot accuse us of being liars. And Keith and Simon did a Cheryl Walker on us. There wasn't any way that they could answer that, because they were caught. And Simon cut the power rather than let anybody listen that he had lied. Cheryl Walker has no shame. She has no idea of propriety. She just went ahead and I could say many things. Go ahead. Oh, but I won't. Really? It's a lie.
Well,
now, what are we supposed to do as citizens? You should never be so hard. This is government. Hey, you know what? When they lie to you, you point it out. When the emperor has no clothes, like a child, you say, hey, the emperor doesn't have any clothes. Well, there's a lot riding on that emperor having clothes on. Yeah, is this really the kind of government you want?
And, my wife will say to me all the time, hey, can you believe this? And she'll, give me some story scenario. And after I hear it, I go, yeah. And, and it used to be that, crazy stories would shock me. I'm not shocked at anything anymore. Perhaps I'm old and cynical, or I'm just, I'm just learning that, people's behavior patterns or whatever. So, when this type of behavior comes out of the commissioners, it doesn't shock me at all. I'm not really fazed by this stuff at all. And to be honest, I personally don't think it's worth the time. I mean, you can point out, but I wouldn't waste a whole lot of breath because
Okay, we're going to shut down the website. You're right. Yes.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I mean, how many heartbeats and breaths do you want to, pursue that with? I mean, you can point it out every time it happens, but it just after a while, it's just wow.
I was surprised.
Never ends.
I was surprised that Keith Eck didn't do to me what he's done to others and me in the past, and say, "I'm tired of hearing about this." We haven't gotten any kind of answer. She's not even attempted to try to answer. And so he said, well, we have a rule against repetitiveness. We have a rule against repetitiveness. We have a rule. Hey, you're doing it yourself. So,
well, and that's funny that you mentioned that, because I thought, isn't that ironic? Here's Cheryl up there saying, people shouldn't be saying things about other people in the community that aren't true. I'm thinking, wow, you need to watch this back a couple of times and see what we're talking about here. But, listen, people tend to see the world through their own eyeballs and from their own perspective, and they don't consider other people's perspective on it. So,
well, what we do here, maybe our most valuable thing, is we know what's happened before. And we've got all the records. And so what we did tonight is we put them side by side for you. And you say, I think I see a pattern there. You're right. Yes, you do. And so do we. And when we pull them together, like that one where it's going back and forth between Sandy and I, and doing some of the time things on there and weaving a story. He's very good at weaving stories. Yeah, but it's all the truth, Cheryl. And so you might try that. And
yes,
you can go ahead.
It's valuable to have a record of this, because these people are going to be up for re-election. Maybe they'll be sick of this after, and that may be the greatest value of badcounty.com, is just the relentless pursuit of these people. And so, they're sitting up there. And if you're, psychologically incapable of telling the truth or not doing stupid things, then, you're going to have to deal with being flogged with it incessantly. And, maybe after 4 years of that, that's enough for some people. And that would be good to get rid of Cheryl and Keith in 2016. That would be fantastic.
Can we say goodbye to Jim Moore at the Daily Courier also? How about Chuck Benson? Chuck Benson was there again today, pretending to be a journalist. They still haven't run any story about the Republic. The biggest party. I'm not a Republican, but the Republican Central Committee's vote about what they're going to do with the levy. This has no place on KJO. Really? None? Zero? It's not a story? How can you? I mean, you really have to be dedicated to your cause to decide that this is a story that's in favor of the levy. Well, that's a story. And this one that's against the levy is not a story, not at all. What kind of news? You can't call yourself a news person and decide things like that.
Listen, I mean, this is clearly a valid criticism that there is not any media to speak of, operating in this town in, legitimate fashion. The newspaper and the radio station are just, they are only reporting one side of the news. And here's an interesting thing. Today, I discovered the capability of going into Facebook, and on certain pages, you can ask a question, and you can say what the answers are, and then create a tally of stuff. So, and I discovered this because somebody else had already put up one on vote on the levy. Yes or no. And So it was crazy in favor of no on the levy. And so these started popping up all over these Facebook chat sites. And it's just, if those polls, which are non-scientific as non-scientific is, but if it's any reflection at all, this is going to be trouncing the likes of which we haven't seen before. And
it's important to vote. You must vote, however. You have to vote.
Yes.
Either way you want to vote. You
yes.
need to vote.
Do not be lulled into it. Listen, as soon as my ballot comes in the mail, I will promptly sit down and fill it out and get ready to drop that thing right back off. For
Please, everybody, in summary, listen to Mike. Vote early, vote often.